What's up, single dads? Welcome to episode 3, Strengthening Your Relationship with Your Child, of the Single Dad Project, where we're building better lives one project at a time. Today, before I go there, my name is Henry and PJ's over to my right. Today we're diving into the heart of fatherhood, your bond with your kid, through our 6 projects: spiritual, relational, intellectual, physical, financial, and business. We're exploring ways to connect deeper, laugh more often, and build memories that last with your kids. So grab a notebook because we've got some exercises for you today to make your kid feel like the VIP they are. Let's get started. So before we get started, let me address the elephant in the room, or the 2 elephants in the room. One is the hair, which is all purple and blue. I don't know if you could see it in the lights. Last episode, I said, my hair was blonde. I said I was Fat Thor in that episode and that the hair would be a different color for this episode, which it is. This is my daughter's favorite color. And then I got this. So this isn't a political channel. I leave it up to you what you decide. Me wearing a shirt that has this logo on it and me having purple hair, it doesn't matter to me. What I'm trying to do is build a relationship, communication, or a community with you guys as single dads, not get into the politics of anything. But purple hair, hoodie, let's get going into the show. The spiritual project, building a shared sense of purpose. And this is a shared sense of purpose with your kid. I've mentioned before on the spiritual project, some people call them pillars. I don't like calling them pillars because to me they're dynamic. Pillars are just standing there. So I call them projects because they're dynamic. Spiritual project isn't necessarily religious, but I'm going to pull from the Bible and other books like the Tao, I Ching, whatever, all those like spiritual books out there, mostly from the Bible because that's the one I have in front of me. So when I go into that, it's more about the philosophy or the insight that's coming out of those words to help us as single dads kind of get a balance of what we're trying to do as dads with our kids. So this shared sense of purpose in the Bible, it emphasizes fatherhood as a role of spiritual leadership, provision, protection, and love. Being a dad involves embodying God's attributes, which in the Bible they talk about love, compassion, forgiveness, and guidance, while leading by example and prioritizing children's spiritual and physical well-being. In last week's episode, I talked about stewardship, and one of the things I was discovering about stewardship in the Bible. And so all of this comes back, especially with this portion of the spiritual project that we're talking about. So one little quick scripture verse to kind of like give us context of what we're talking about here. In Matthew chapter 7, verse 9 through 11, Jesus says to whoever he was talking to, I'm assuming a group of guys, which of you, if your son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask? And so I'm using this Bible verse, this piece of scripture, to give context to what I'm talking about. And here, Jesus is saying, though you are evil, as a father, you know how to give good gifts to your children. So when I read that, it's interesting because sometimes I feel like as a single dad struggling through life, I want to do better for my daughter. And that's kind of like the evil side of me. It's like, how does this person provide for her and protect her? And oftentimes it's like when I look back on the relationship I've had with my daughter, it's like all these little gifts that I would give her because she was into that. And we'll talk more about that in another section here. But we're trying to build a spiritual connection with your child. And like I said before, it's not just about religion. It's about creating a shared sense of meaning through values, gratitude, and exploring life's big questions. So the strategies that we're going to talk about here will build trust and help you and your kid feel anchored. So first exercise that we're coming up with here in the spiritual project is something I call the gratitude jar. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's termed it that way. You could probably find online that somebody came up with this idea a long time ago. So I brought a jar. It's got these little plastic green stones in them. Just for visual, because I didn't want to bring just an empty jar in here. But the exercise, the gratitude jar, this is what you want to do. Grab a jar or any other container. It doesn't have to be, this thing. And some slips of paper. They could be like sticky notes, anything like that. And sit with your child, and each of you write down one thing that you're grateful for about each other or about life or whatever. So as an example, you could say to your kid, hey, I'm grateful for your smile. And then once you two have your little slips of paper, put them in the jar, and then come back to them a month later. Or in our case, since we're doing these projects week by week, if you do the gratitude jar on, let's say Sunday, on Saturday, you can kind of revisit the little slips and see where you guys were. A couple of things like why this works. This builds a habit of noticing the good in each other, fostering a deeper emotional and spiritual bond. It's simple but powerful, especially for kids or you dads out there who might not always express your feelings. And one of the things that I recognize in my life, my dad was not one of these dads that are hug and kiss you all the time. He got like that later in life, but not when I was younger. And with my daughter, it was one of those things where I wanted, especially after the divorce and not seeing her as often as I did before, one of the things that I wanted her to know is hey, I love you. I want to be there for you. And so I was always hugging her. I was always kissing her. I was always trying to let her know in a dad affectionate kind of way, like I love you. And so the exercise of the gratitude jar, I think, is kind of cool because as a dad, if you hang on to the jar, years from now, you have all these little slips of why your kid was grateful for you, like the little things that they wrote down. And if you stick with it, you'll have slips of paper when they were, 5, 6, 7 years old to 14, 15. I know teenagers change and they might not be as grateful for you as they were when they were younger, but at least you'll have a mini little time capsule. And I think that's something that's kind of really cool. So if you try the gratitude jar exercise, let us know in the comments how that helped you out. Next up is the Relational Project, experiencing the world through the eyes of your child. So basically the question is how do you relate to your kids? What are your kids asking for? What are they into? People relate to each other through a variety of factors, including shared experiences, common interests, and emotional understanding, empathy, communication, and spending quality time together. Kindness, respect, and actively listening are also key to fostering these positive connections with your kid. So one of the things that when I talk to dads that they struggle with is they know their kid, especially if you're around them enough, but oftentimes single dads don't get to spend all this time with their kids. So there's a little bit of a disconnect. And some of the dads that I've talked to are well, how do I know how to connect with my kid? What do I do? And just a little book suggestion. There's no sponsorship, no affiliate, nothing with that. I brought this book, The 5 Love Languages of Children. Read this a long time ago when my daughter was younger. I read the original book prior to that, and through the concepts in the book, I understood that for my daughter, her love language is one of them is gifts. So as a dad, when already the divorce happened, every time I got to see my kid, I would try to get little gifts for her, little things. And these little gifts would light up her face. And like I said, it was one of those things that I recognized early on that was a love language for her. Even now, as she's older, recently I got her this little water bottle, which was purple, her favorite color, not mine. purple water bottle. And when I gave it to her, it also had her zodiac sign. So she looked at it and she was like, oh, this is so cool. Like just little things like that helped me build a connection with my kid. And it was all like learning what her love language is. So if you don't know what that emotional connection is with your kid, how you relate, try reading that book and getting some ideas out of that. The exercise that I have for you today is, I'm calling it Step Into Your Kid's World. And by that, I mean play in their world, talk about the things that they're interested in, and let them invite you into their world. And this is the important part, dads, participate. Don't just sit on the couch, watch them play, let them do their activity or whatever. You want to get down to their level and participate in whatever world they want to invite you in. One of the memories I have with my daughter, she's long ago, she's like 6 or 7 years old. She wanted a like play dress and whatever. So she's like, Daddy, wear this. And she's putting all kinds of like crap in my hair and braiding my hair. And at one point she's like, okay, now we're going to paint our nails. And that's, there's a part of me that was like, whoa, I got to go to work the next day and I'm going to look stupid with all these colors on my nails. But the dad in me that wanted to participate and spend this moment with my kid and not ruin it by being like, I can't do that because I'm going to look stupid at work. I let her paint my nails, and my nails were like green and yellow and purple and all different kinds of red and all different kinds of colors. And we were having fun. And the next day I got made fun of it. I got made fun of having painted fingernails. The interesting thing for me was like, I didn't care. Like I had a cool little fun moment with my kid and she had a blast. And the people that were, ridiculing me, I didn't give a shit about. Some people that asked like, hey, why are you coming in with your fingernails all painted? And I told them, I said, because my daughter wanted to paint my fingernails and I let her. Those people got it. And that was cool. So I'm not saying you have to go to that extreme. If you're a dad that has a daughter and she wants to paint your nails, let her paint your nails. Just do it. She'll love it. So the point is, participate in their world. And I think one of the other points I want to make is this isn't about like the things that you find cool. Like if you're all into baseball and you want to play catch, don't do that. Let them tell you what they want to do and participate in their world in that way. The other little point I think I put in here in my notes is your time as a single dad with your kids is very limited. It's not like when you were married, if you were ever married to her mom or whatever. You don't see them every day unless you're the dad that actually has custody of the kid. That's a different thing. My experience was different. I was only seeing my daughter every other weekend. So your time with your kid is very limited. Don't waste it. Like you want to participate and have fun with them. Quick little note why this works. The exercise teaches both of you to bond and for you as a dad to be present with them. This is why last week I was teaching you to be present with yourself. If you watch that video, a lot of it was like on the inner sphere, all about you, the dad, like, hey, who am I? What's going on here with my life? This sphere is outside of that. And the focus is on your kids, and seeing what their world is about. So if you can't be present with yourself, I find it hard that you're going to be present with your kids, and you'll likely miss out on something. So go back to those videos first. Get an understanding of who you are, come back to these videos, and then work with your kids. Let us know how that goes for you. Let us know in the comments. I got my forklift back. It wasn't a hydraulic hose issue, but if it was, my friends over at chosenonehose.com would have had that forklift up and running right away. Do you need custom hydraulic hoses and fittings that deliver? Call my friend John at 847-893-0084. For over 40 years, Chosen One has been the go-to partner for businesses in Chicagoland. Their expert team crafts top-notch solutions tailored to your needs, fast and built to last. Power your operation with the best. Visit chosenonehose.com today. I know if the forklift I was driving had a hydraulic hose issue, my friend John at Chosen One Hose would have taken care of it by now. That's chosenonehose.com, 847-893-0084. Don't forget to ask for spares. John wanted me to let you guys know that. We'll have their info on the screen in the description below. One more time, chosen1hose.com, 847-893-0084. Ask for John. The next project is the Intellectual Project. And here we're building a deep emotional connection through listening. The father-child relationship thrives on feeling heard, and I believe this is for both the father and the child. So one of the things that we'll talk about in this exercise is how we can facilitate that. Focusing on active listening helps you understand your kid's world, whether they're a toddler. And I remember when my kid was that young, everything was a question. Daddy, why? Daddy, why? Daddy, why? All the way to when they become teenagers. And I've noticed at least with my kid, the questions have gotten less and less, which is fine. But you still want them to feel valued and heard. And so in this exercise, I'm calling it the curiosity walk. Here's what you do. Take time with your kid to go on a short walk, could be around the block. You know, if you have a big backyard, walk around the yard or whatever. The point is just get out and have this little activity where you're walking and you're not like interrogating your kid or anything, sitting in front of them and saying, why, talk to me about this and this and that. Just have a walk, make it casual, and let your child talk about anything that they want. School, games, dreams, or even complaints, stuff that's going, not so good in their world. Your job as a dad is to listen without interrupting, advising, or judging. And I catch myself in this situation where if my kid's telling me something, I get the dad hat on and I want to tell her what to do and don't do this and watch out for those people, yada, yada, yada. So we want to kind of avoid that and just listen, nod, make eye contact when, you feel like it, when there's something important going on in the conversation, and ask a follow-up question pertaining to what they're telling you. So the question could be like, your kid's telling you about school, how the day went, whatever. And you can ask something like, hey, what was the best part of that? Like, what was the best part of your day? To have them feel like you're engaged and you're listening to what they're telling you. And then the other piece of this exercise that you can do if your kid's a little bit older is switch roles. Then say, hey, I'm going to tell you about my day, and if you want to kind of coach them through this, so you can be like, hey, when I tell you about my day, you can ask me something like, hey, what was the best part of your day? What was the good part of what happened in that situation? One of the things with this is this exercise is going to teach you to be fully present with your kid because you're actively listening, which builds trust and encourages your kid to open up even more over time. For me, I know when my daughter was getting older, like I said earlier, the questions that she was having was like less and less and less and less. And so there was a little bit of disengagement there, and I struggled, and sometimes to this day I still struggle on how to connect with my daughter. Funny enough, this podcast is one of the ways for me to connect with her virtually, in the sense that somewhere down the line, if she finds this video or these episodes, she'll see what her dad was thinking and talking about long after I'm gone. So that's one of those, like, the little mini time capsule that I'm building here for my kid. You want to basically be fully present when you're engaging in this curiosity walk with your kid. Listen, hear them out. And if you want to switch roles, have your kids ask you questions like, hey, Dad, how was your day? And let them do the active listening part for both of you. This will help you be heard and anchor that connection emotionally even more. So let us know if you try this exercise, let us know how it goes for you in the comments. And the next project is the physical project, bonding through playful movement. This project is similar to the relational project, and they all kind of tie in together a little bit. Physical activity with your kid isn't just about fitness. It's about joy, teamwork, and creating memories. This project focuses on activities that get you both moving and hopefully laughing and having fun. So in this project, basically the exercise is do activities together. And just like the other project we talked about earlier, you want to let your kids pick the topic, like let them come into you as the parent come into their world. So as far as the activities go, I've got on here as a list. You can dance, sing karaoke, make music together if your kid is into making music, work out with your kid, play catch. Something that I find cool is playing a co-op game, video game with your kids. The basic thing is to do something together, activities. And better if you can let your child pick what that activity is. I'm not much into dancing, but if my daughter was like, hey, Dad, I wanted, like the activity's going to be dancing, then I would dance with her because that's what she wants to do. Years ago for Christmas, I bought her a Millennium Falcon Lego set. I don't know if you guys ever seen this. It's like this freaking big. It's huge. I wanted the thing for myself. I got it for her. But the cool thing about the activity was we laid everything on the floor. You get all these little pouches of Lego pieces, and there's instructions on how to build each little pouch, because there are different sections of the spaceship. And we both got down on the floor and we're like on our bellies, like finding pieces. I'm building one little section. She's building another section. When she got, kind of stuck, she's like, Daddy, I don't know. And I'm sitting there helping her out. Get into the activity with your kid is basically what I'm saying. Something I said earlier in this video, participate. I wasn't, dad on the couch watching my kid on the floor put these Lego pieces together. I was down on the floor with her, and I had fun putting this thing together because, I'm 50 years old, man. Star Wars was my thing when I was a kid. So it's actually, for me, nostalgic and cool and fun to have my daughter be into the things that I was into when I was a kid. So the point of the activities is to have fun. It's a low pressure way to connect physically and emotionally with your child. You want to do some activity. I know on some level I mentioned, doing the co-op game, video games, you're just sitting on the couch or whatever, but you're still doing something together. And again, my daughter doesn't really play games. I do, so if she was like, Dad, I want to do co-op with you, I would be like, that's amazing. Let's go. So it's still doing activities with your kid together. You want to do this because in a way it releases stress for both of you. It creates shared moments, memories that you and your kid will have for a long time. So whatever activity you pick, let us know in the comments how it goes. I think this is a fun one. Try it. See how it goes. Before we dive into the financial project, one quick side note. Are you tired of scraping by? I personally know a lot of single dads that are working 2 full-time jobs just to make ends meet. What if there was an easy side hustle out there that didn't require full-time hours but got you full-time pay, like making up to $50 an hour writing letters from the couch? No suit, no stress, just cash. Request info at this link on the screen below. Quick little transparency here. It is an affiliate link. Question, can you really earn extra cash just from writing letters? Hop over to the link and find out. The next project is the financial project. Save, spend, give, invest. And I wish, sometimes as parents we're working with the best that we've got, the cards that we were dealt. And I kind of wish this is something that my dad knew about when I was younger and could have helped me with. Would have probably saved me a lot of financial heartache and struggle over the years. But talking about money with your kid can and should prepare them for life. Again, it goes back to that stewardship idea that we talked about in last week's video. And yes, I believe you as a dad, single dad, should talk to your kid or kids about money, even if you struggle with money. Like I said in the Relational Project, you want to go into their world, and if they're a little bit older, you can invite them into your world. And sometimes, especially if you're struggling with money or struggling with relationship with their mom, you can talk about that. I think that kind of transparency, especially nowadays where kids can get their information from wherever, you want them to lean on you as their parent, as their guide, as their somebody that can provide for them, even if you're struggling to try and provide for them. This project focuses on involving your child in simple financial lessons that strengthen your relationship and theirs with money. The exercise, it's basically the same thing as the title that I gave it here. It's a piggy bank exercise: save, spend, give, invest. And basically, here's what you do. Here's my jar from before. You want to get a jar or 4 jars. You don't have to break the bank on this. Speaking of like financial stuff, it can be a can. It doesn't have to be clear, although that helps, or even 4 envelopes. What you're basically doing is on each jar is going to have that label that we talked about here in the title: save, spend, give, invest. And you want to teach your kid about these 4 concepts. The 1 jar to save, that's money for later, obviously. The money to spend, that's something that, they can take and buy candy, baseball cards, whatever your kids are into. Pokemon, is that something that's still around? The next jar is give. That's something that they're putting money in there that they can give to somebody, donate if they're feeling charitable. All those ideas is basically how you want to guide them, right? I'm just kind of going off the riff here, but these are ideas that you as the parent, you as a single dad can say, okay, if you want to take some of this money and give it, what are we going to donate to? Like, what do you feel like donating this money to? And obviously invest, depending on, and I don't even think it matters these days. I was going to say, depending on how old your kid is, you can invest that money. There's lots of apps nowadays. You can put a little bit of money here and there, get into ETFs and all that kind of stuff. So you're basically, as the parent, guiding your kid into how to use money, how to put it away in these little jars. I think it's like I said, I never had that experience. My dad was working, by the time I was in high school, my dad was working 2 jobs, got 3 younger brothers. So that man, we put him through hell. I don't think he had the capacity to be like, all right, I'm going to teach you fuckers about money. That was not happening in my house. But I think it's important. And I think it's important that you as the dad is the one, even if, like I said, you're struggling with money, you as the dad is the one that's guiding your kid into like having this conversation about money, and trying this exercise is one of the ways to do that. And for you as a single dad, if you are struggling with money, it's one of those things where you can learn, and as you guys are going through it together, you can learn as the dad, hey, this is how money works, as I'm teaching my kid, hey, this is how money works. The benefit here is the exercise makes money talks tangible and collaborative, showing your kid you trust them to be a part of the plan. So these are their jars. They're picking, how much money they're going to spend or invest or donate or save. You're just helping them out. It also opens up conversations about values and priorities. Like, do you really want to spend your money on this? You got $2 in here, whatever. Like that whole conversation, how you teach your kid is up to you. The other piece that I want to give you guys is, if you don't know where to start, we've kind of got you covered. I've gone through this with, like I said, I know guys and people in general that are in the financial industry. Talked to them on the side here before the show, and I was like, hey, what can we do for single dads that can help them out? So for you and your teenage or adult children, we have a money guide. I'm working on a money guide for little ones. Just post in the comments, single dad money guide, and we'll get it to you. I'm going to find a way. I'm not good with the technology on YouTube yet, but we have this guide for you and your kids to show you how to look and think about money. And it's in this category of save, spend, give, and invest. So if you want some help in that category, you want the guide, just put Single Dad Money Guide in the comments and we'll find a way to get it to you. And here we are at the final project. Again, how you take these projects in doesn't matter if you pick one or pick all 6. If you want to start with the physical and end with the relationship one, doesn't matter. I just have them in this order because that's how I always had them in my calendars. So the final project here is the business/stewardship project. And so the idea here is start a business with your kid. Kids learn from watching you. We all know that, right? How about doing something that is both positive and beneficial? Involve them in a small business. Inspire them while deepening your bond with them. This will give you something powerful to build with your kids. This whole project is about showing them how to create, steward, and profit from something that you guys do together. So the exercise is called the mini business exercise. Sit down with your kid and brainstorm tiny business ideas that you can do together. Again, depending on the age of your kid, you as the parent figure out like what's appropriate. But as I was going through this in my mind, like, you hear about lemonade stands, and I actually see them sometimes when I'm driving around in neighborhoods, depending on what I'm doing with work or whatever. I'll every once in a while in the summertime, I'll see a lemonade stand. I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like they're actually, there's people that still do that. Another idea here is selling old toys at a garage sale. So you can involve your kids in that way. It's like, I remember years ago when my daughter was younger, her mom was like, okay, it's time to like, these stuffed animals, we got to sort of like let them go. And to her credit, she was like, told my daughter, you pick the stuffed animals and we're going to give them away. We're going to donate them to other kids so that they can have stuffed animals. And you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. What I'm using this for is a way to learn about business ideas, how to take something, how to take an object and sell it, make some money from it. So this again, the idea is like, doing a garage sale type of thing, where you could take your kids' toys and be like, okay, these are the toys that we're selling. Let them come up with the price that they're willing to let the toys go for. And obviously, at the end of the day, whatever toys got sold and whatever money got made, then you can go on and teach them, okay, if you want, this is profit, this is revenue, this is, you could put aside for taxes if you want to teach them all that shit. Or you could just let them have all the money, put it in the financial jars of save, spend, give, donate. So you could use this a lot of ways to teach your kids. And like, again, if you're not into business, this will also teach you as a parent, as a single dad, like how to get involved in business and starting something new. Other ideas are crafting books to give away. In this day and age, everybody's got an ebook. I think my grandmother, just kidding, somebody's got an ebook out there. And so I think it's a cool thing to do with your kid. If you guys are more techie, you want to sit in front of the computer, come up with a cool idea, like a children's book or whatever, put it on Amazon, boom, sell it. Again, let your kids suggest ideas, let them pick one and spend 1 or 2 hours executing or coming up like with an outline and whatnot. Afterward, talk about what you guys learned together. The interesting thing, when my daughter was 4 or 5 years old, I remember she always liked to play tea time. Daddy, let's play tea time. And, she'd have the fake cups and pouring me the tea and whatnot. One day, and I don't know where she got this from, one day my daughter's like, hey, Daddy, we're going to play tea time. Cool. I sit down with her. Like, again, I said earlier, participate, right? Get into their little world. And I'm sitting with my kid. She's pouring me the tea, and she goes, okay, Daddy, that'll be $5. And I was like, what? $5? She goes, yeah, it's $5. Tea time. The tea time changed. I was like, holy cow. I thought, and here's the thing, I thought it was the coolest fucking thing. I don't know where my kid got it from, but I'm like, if this kid grows up to be a business owner someday, she's going to kill it in life. So yeah, I think it's awesome. Why this works. This exercise shows you and your kid that ideas can become reality with effort. We talked about that in last week's episode with the stewardship, where like all these words kept coming up that I was, when I was doing my little research in the Bible about what the Bible talks about business. Stewardship kept coming up. And so with effort and some patience and a little work, cultivating what you want to do with your business, all of that stuff comes to play. The other thing here is it gives you as a parent a chance to praise their creativity, praise your daughter, your kids. I'm thinking daughter because I have a daughter. Your kids' creativity, boosting their confidence and your connection to their activities and what they do. If you do this activity, let us know what business ideas you and your kids came up with and like how much you profited. I think that'd be kind of an interesting conversation. So let us know in the comments if this is one of those activities that you do with your kid in the business project, and let me know how it goes. Okay, so at the end of the video here for this week's show, and I want to give you guys a little recap or a summary of what we talked about. The spiritual, relational, intellectual, physical, financial, and business projects that we talked about this week are basically what you want to do is practice the projects. Take one project or all 6 and separate them by day if you want to. So the suggestion I have for you is Sunday, spiritual. The project is gratitude jar. Take a jar, little slips of paper, you and your kid get right together, like what you're grateful for, put it in the jar, read them later. Monday, relational, step into your kid's world. What that basically means is like ask them what's going on with your day and listen. You want to do active listening, get into who they are, and build that bond with your kid. Tuesday, intellectual, is the curiosity walk. This is where they talk about things that are important to them and you just listen. Don't put on the dad hat as far as like telling them what to do. Don't do this, don't do that. Just listen and ask follow-up questions. Wednesday, physical, do an activity together, do something together, dance, sing, play co-op games, video games, workout. I might put this in the video. I have a mini little video that I recorded for myself just to have, for the future. When my daughter was a few years back, a little bit younger, we worked out together. So I have that now, and it's a kind of cool memory. So you want to I have a lot of little activities that I did with my kid over the years, but you want to just keep that going and build that bond with them. Thursday, financial, is the 4-jar, 4-envelope piggy bank idea. Save, spend, give, invest. Let them choose how much money they're going to put into each jar. If you want to guide that amount, that's fine, but let them kind of be in control of that. Let them also choose where they want to put that money to outside of the jar, whether they invest in, who knows, if you want to pick an app, do the ETF thing, you can be like, this will be good for your future. If they want to keep money aside to buy a guitar, things like that. Just let them have that choice. Friday is the business project, mini business. Again, just gave you quick little ideas like lemonade stand, selling stuff at a garage sale. I mean, you can even do with all the stuff that we have available to us these days with online. You can set up a little Etsy store, do little crafts with your kid, put them on the Etsy store and see if they sell. And you guys can both learn from that experience. And then Saturday, you rest. What's the purpose of these activities or these projects? Is building connection with your kid. You want to bond with them in meaningful ways. That's a wrap for episode 3 of the Single Dad Project. Single Dads, my name is Henry. It's PJ over to my right. Here reminding you that the beginning is the end and the end is just a new start. You've got the tools to cultivate the bond with your kids or kid. Now it's time to act. Pick 1 or 2 exercises from the projects that we talked about earlier, like the curiosity walk or the mini business, and try them this week. Drop your progress in the comments. Let us know how everything goes for you. If you like the ideas, even if you don't, that's fine. You can let us know. Subscribe for new episodes. Real quick little edit here. We were releasing on Mondays. I think we're going to push it back to Wednesdays because me and PJ got a lot of shit that's going on in life. And so we don't want to screw ourselves. So we're pushing the episode release date published date on Wednesdays now. And with that, let's build better lives for our kids together. Until then, stay inspired, stay accountable, and live with purpose. See you guys next week.